is going on YouTube? It is your boy Sir Jorge the Great, bringing you a team update for our APM Juniors Division team. Your San Ant Eggys have gone through 4 weeks of battles, and I realized there's something lacking in our team, and I just felt like there changes needed to be made. I was going to wait until near the end of the season where hopefully we're playoffs contenders, but I want to make sure that we have those chances of making playoffs. So I think right now is the only time, or I think the best time to make a change, and so these changes will be affecting on from weeks 5 and onward. Week 4 should be up by the time I am by the time you're seeing this. I haven't recorded week 4 yet. I'm getting to that. I should have the team builder up by tonight as I'm recording, today being Wednesday the 5th of February, breaking the 4th wall. But with that in mind, if you guys did not see week 4, then please by all means go check that card up there. We sort of got demolished by a physically defensive Gastrodon, and we just really didn't have a good response to it. I felt like our team needed to change just a little bit. I really like the approach of us going more of a purely offensive team, because our team is offensive. We are rain, and we are going to drown our opponents, and our key component is rain. And without the rain, we pretty much can't function that well. We can, but the core idea of our team is rain. And so I could have gone in 2 directions. I could have just dropped the idea of rain, got a better tier 1 Pokemon, dropped Aeroscooter, dropped Pelipper, but I didn't want to abandon this idea. I don't want to, I don't want to lose it. And so with that in mind, I sort of thought of a plan. Okay, remember guys, I had that 1 extra point at the beginning of our infinite transactions. So I sort of looked at that 1 point and was like, what can I get for 1 point? I was thinking of getting a Rapid Spin or something that can defog things away, possibly a Dark type Pokemon. But ultimately there wasn't anything too good that I wanted, with the exception of 1 Pokemon, but we actually did not end up getting that Pokemon because we actually sort of shuffled things around. So let's actually kick into it. So let's go over our first drop. Unfortunately, she was great. She is thick. She is beautiful, but we had to drop a Shido the Gudra. As my computer I just paused my music, that's why. I knew that. So unfortunately we did have to drop Gudra, Ashido the Gudra, our slimy girl. Wow, demonetized immediately. We did drop a Gudra. The reason being is, you'll see in a moment, but I honestly did like Gudra. I loved Gudra. I think her ability to have hydration rest was really cool. I just didn't think, I think we could have used her more offensively. I really could have. We never brought her to her Scarf. I would have liked to, but with what I wanted, we could have got something a little bit better, in my opinion. So that's essentially what we went for. Now, what I dropped Gudra for and picked up instead is going to seem a little weird, but it'll make sense in due time. So we dropped Gudra, and we actually picked up Doug Trio. So with the Trio, this gives us a ground type, and if you couldn't tell by now, we actually did drop Rodriguez. You'll see in a second. We picked up Doug Trio. Really, this was to get a sort of cheaper option. Gudra was not a cheap pick by all means. She was expensive, and so I really wanted to fill up that last slot so that our opponent didn't have 1 less Pokemon to prepare for. I wanted all of our Pokemon to be threats. Unfortunately, in this league, the Trio cannot run Arena Trap. That is something I have to keep in mind. Otherwise, I will forfeit the match. But what the Trio is a guaranteed Stealth Rocker. Gives me options to Earthquake Spam, Sucker Punch, Priority Sucker Punch, and that's pretty much it. It's a very fragile Pokemon that can just, come in at the beginning of the game and wreak havoc. I can also bring it Choice Bandit or even Final Gambit set just to obliterate a Pokemon that my opponent decides to bring out, and that could be a strategy. But in the end of the day, this is just a ground type that I did need on the team because of our changes. So yeah. By that note, we picked up the Trio, again, just a fast Pokemon. It is currently our 2nd fastest Pokemon, which is kind of nice because originally our opponents just had to prep for a, I think they knew they couldn't outspeed Barraskewda, so they sort of gave up on that idea, but now they have to prep for Doug Trio, because that is our 2nd fastest thing, besides our Pokemon in the rain. And we have multiple now, as you will find out. So yeah, we picked up Doug Trio. And the next Pokemon, unfortunately, I just don't think there was much of a playstyle with me. And unfortunately, we had to see Rune. Rune? Oh, there we go. Rodriguez, unfortunately, we didn't have the dropper. Our spoopy girl. It's just, again, I looked at our options and I wanted to go more of an offensive team than more balanced. And so I think we're leaning more towards hyper offense, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I could just be spewing this crap out of my mouth. But I dropped Rodriguez because, again, it's a very balanced Pokemon, and I really wanted something that could, have a little more oomph. Yes, we could have run Ironfan's body press. That's really good, but with our opponents and sort of what was available, it just didn't fit my playing style. Now, granted, I've never used our trio before. It's my first time picking it up, but I think it will work. And so with that sort of pick, I looked at what was left whenever I was, looking over what was available, and I saw this Pokemon was still there. And I'm surprised I didn't pick it up initially. So we dropped Rodriguez, and we picked up I Will Shake Mine, and You Will Shake Yours. We picked up Ludicolo, the Ludicolo, a Swift Swim user. This is a Pokemon that can definitely abuse the rain. It's sort of a special sweeper that my opponent does have to prepare for. And the reason why I picked up Ludicolo is because of that. Because now we have Barraskewda, now we have Ludicolo, and that's two threats in the rain that my opponent has to prepare for, because Ludicolo was a choice specs or a life orb. It's just a huge threat that my opponent cannot overlook. If we had Ludicolo last week and we had brought it, we would have had a better time against that Gastrodon. So because of those bulky water types, because we really don't have that offensive present, or our electric type and our grass type weren't the best, I don't mind doubling up on the grass type Pokemon, because our water type Pokemon do have a hard time breaking through those bulky water types. So that's why I picked up Ludicolo. It's a great Pokemon. It's pretty bulky on its own right, but really it's just a sweeper for my opponent to be scared of. By the way, look at this amazing artwork. This is great. But anyways, so with that, we actually picked up some pretty cheap Pokemon. Rodriguez was, Ashido the Gujo was an 11 tier pick. The trio was a 9-point pick. And then I believe Rodriguez was about a 8-point, 7-point pick, and Ludicolo was a 6 or 5-point pick. So we had some spare points, and I was looking over what was still available, and I was like, oh yeah, that Pokemon gets Swift Sim. And so introducing to our team, we're picking up another Pokemon, the final member of our roster. We are picking up Big, Scary, and Cold Beartic. Now, I don't think a lot of people know that Beartic is Swift Swim. I didn't know until I was watching a draft league battle of A-Drives, I believe. And I was like, why is that Pokemon on that rain team? Dion was facing a rain team, and Beartic was on it. And I was like, why is Beartic on it? And then I just realized it got Swift Sim. And if I played random battles before, and when you Dynamax Beartic, I mean, we can't Dynamax here, but you click Liquidation Dynamax, he gets his boost immediately, which is just fantastic. The 130 attack is nothing to joke about. We actually have a great offensive Pokemon in Beartic. This is just another sweeper from my opponent to be terrified, because now this also helps me with annoying grass type Pokemon that my water type Pokemon have hard time dealing with. So and Beartic is just bulky on its own, 95 HP, 80 defense, 80 special defense, and it's just a good Pokemon for my team. I really think with the idea what I was going for, I think this was our best sort of option possible. I really like Beartic in this team. I'm really excited to have an Ice type. I think Ice types are really good offensively. So let's see how he does for the rest of the season. Now, what I'm about to show you next is sort of our draft, what I initially had came up with. This is the next sort of, so I had two essentially redrafts of this team. So let me show you that immediately. So this is sort of my own doc that I have put all my teams in and how I built prep for. So as on the very far left, you can see our original team. Technically not our original, because this was our current team. We had Barraskewda, Helis, Galarian Rapidash, Arcanine, Goodra, Phoenix, Pelipper, Rodriguez, and Ferrothorn. And so initially I was going to drop Goodra and pick up Poltergeist because they were on the same tier, and I was going to drop Rodriguez and pick up Ludicolo, and then with that extra point I was going to pick up Sliggoo. Well, Sliggoo isn't as bulky as its evolution base, because it just loses out on the Assault Vest. We were forced to run Eviolite, which isn't bad whatsoever, and granted that we are a rain team, we could just run Rest, but also we were actually out of a ground type, which is sort of scary given that we are a rain team. So shout out to the folks at the SSBL. Shout out to my friend who, even though she isn't that familiar with Draft League, she still gave me some input. And so with that, I sort of So that's the middle sort of draft. That's sort of initially what I came up with, and then the far right is with the team that you just saw right now with the current changes. So we dropped the Poltegeist, picked up the trio for a ground type. We kept the Ludicolo pick because again I liked it. Alex, Alex asked why I was doubling up on grass type Pokemon, and for me I just didn't care. Helps me out with those pesky, bulky water types that do also benefit in the rain, as well. And this allowed me to pick up Beartic, which I think is a fantastic pick for our team. So yeah, that's currently our team for the rest of the season. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I think this was the best sort of timing to pick teams, or to change the teams, because I was considering doing this at the end of the season rather than right now, but I didn't want to risk of me losing Beartic, me losing Ludicolo, or even possibly losing the trio. And so I just thought, you know what, let's give ourselves the best chances out there. If we face a team that is possibly an opponent that we might face in playoffs, obviously we're not going to bring the best team, because we need to save that for playoffs. So with that in mind, that's sort of the thought process I had for week 4 as well, because honestly, on top of having a hard time building for that team, yeah, it was a time crunch too. So like I didn't have enough time to think thoroughly, and I know I'm gonna see this opponent in playoffs. They're currently 3-1 as well. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the changes down below. I'm very excited with this team. I think now that we have new sweepers in Ludicolo and Beartic, with Barraskewda, our opponents are definitely going to have a harder time to deal with this team, with this amazing, cheap rain team. But yeah. With that in mind, I'm going to end this team update there. If you guys did enjoy this, make sure you smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you are new around here. If you're enjoying my content and just want to support your San Ant Eggys, by all means, please subscribe. It is free. I don't charge people. Other YouTubers might. But anyways, you guys know me as Sir Jorge the Great. Make sure you are praising the word of a little Eggy. And we'll catch you guys for week 5. See you then. Bye-bye.